Hello, my name is Giuseppe, and I'm going to be discussing policy disruption in the country of Argentina. Now, Argentina is a country full of opportunities in regards to its territory, since it remains one of Latin America's biggest economies with a GDP of 460 billion dollars, and the territory poses a lot of opportunities for the country since it's it's 2.8 million square kilometers of land, have holds extremely fertile lands, which of course have a huge importance in regards to the agricultural sector, and of course it's one of the main drivers in the economy, and the huge clean energy potential. Now, in regards to a little bit more of the context, uh, Argentina still has extreme levels of poverty, which is closely related to high prices, and specifically in the agricultural business in regards to meat and crops. Argentina has also been a very unstable economy from historically, and it has gone through constant crisis and recession with a world breaking of 14 recessions in the last 40 years without counting the last one, which is one of the biggest ones, which of course poses a lot of challenges for this sector as well. Now, the current policies in place are basically heavy taxation, which is a characteristic of Argentina also historically, which is basically retentions in the exports, as well as huge taxation on these exports, which translate to a difficulty in doing business for the stakeholders. So the tax system in these last decades has been characterized by these main indicators, with the exception of a period in between 2015 and 2016, where export restrictions were lowered and tax on exports were almost eliminated, and therefore the sector, this business was booming. Now, meat prices are extremely high, and this is also something that should be tackled in order to make everything more accessible and tackle not only economic prosperity, but also social and environmental issues. Now, there was a compromised growth in the sector, as I mentioned, specifically because of the heavy taxation and lack of support and investment from the government as well as private entities to be able to not only update practices, but also modernize infrastructure. In terms of bank credits, they were also non-existent, which also takes support away from the stakeholders in this business. Some of the recommended policies are developing a specific law framework so that the whole business could have a different sense of stability and predictability that will make easier to do business for all the stakeholders involved. This also is related to a process that should be going on of institutionalization, which is basically recommending that the country develops a ministry of agro-industry to be able, as I mentioned before, to have a specific framework structure and get a little bit more predictability and stability from the government or from the public sector. Now, another policy that is being recommended is to decrease tax pressure in this sector. Same thing that happened in the years 2015 and 16, that was then reverted in 2018 to be able to decrease the deficit in taxes, the fiscal deficit, and also develop a technology package in financial terms to be able to give a financial aid to the stakeholders to be able to modernize practice and have an impact in the long-term financial goals, as well as making the practices more environmentally friendly. There's also reform in the native forest law that is extremely needed, since deforestation is still a big issue in Argentina. Now, another recommended policies are shifting the economy to a low carbon one, which is also providing a subsidize for the businessman in this industry to be able to update infrastructure and practices and be able to have a different footprint in the environment. In terms of product distribution, there's also a big issue because the the truckers union have taken over the whole business of distribution and the government has accepted to be able to rule in an easier way, since if they don't, they will see consequences from this union. But the recommended policy is to actually use the huge network of trains that we do have in the country and be able to, in the long term, be a lot more efficient, since with one train you can transport as much as 50 trucks together, and also make it cheaper in the long run. There's also a sanitation project that the country should continue and stopped doing it, which basically uh, it's related to the sanitation of the basin in Matanza, which is a great source of water, not only for the agricultural practices but also for the whole community in social terms. There's also a policy to transition to clean energy sources in order to be able to, according to INDEC, by 2025 it is possible to have 20% of Argentinians' energy coming from clean sources, but it's imperative that the country subsidizes the package, it gives financial packages subsidizing this issue as well. There's also an issue in the animal agriculture. This is very heavily focused in animal agriculture, and it shouldn't be, since if we take away if we are using all of our lands to feed animals, then that they are going to feed us, it's very inefficient, instead of actually using the land to feed the people, and in terms of that, lowering the impact in the environment and using way less land to feed way more people. Now, as a conclusion, Argentina is facing a lot of challenges, but I believe some of these policies would not only set Argentina in the right track in terms of financial prosperity, but also to have a positive social and environmental impact as well. Thank you.